up to date. Welcome to you.
Where are you? Thanks, Danny. Yes, I'm down here on the boundary as we speak. A beautiful night for football. Hardly a breath of wind here at the MCG. About 11 and 12 degrees, so perfect conditions for Friday night football. The ground is in great nick. The crowd is slowly building in, hoping around the 60,000.
Running a team round the paddock for 6 weeks at State of Origin.
Well, the other thing I believe is that Queensland lost the Origin, so it gives those guys, Billy Slater, Cameron Smith and Cooper Cronk, some...
These arts and cultural brands in a similar way that incubator has received things from, their government, and, that just got me thinking and feeling.
It would be quite hard, I mean, for even relatively successful.
Entertaining brand of footy that can beat teams, and I'm looking forward to this game tonight. Really am looking forward to it.
Absolutely, and that entertaining style of play and that can win is something the Tigers weren't doing earlier. We saw them play the Swans here.
Tonight, at a tip for us, Clinton? I think it's going to be a really close game, but I think the halves combination with Canterbury get them back on track. Canterbury in a close one. As Corey Parker kicks off, Canterbury with first possession of the football.
He's been at Melbourne. Brian Norris. Yep. I mean, you look at some of these players. Brian wasn't even wanted by any other Sydney team. In fact, he'd already signed to play in Wagga, as you know. Yeah. And what's this, his fourth season now, at least, since Craig.
Say, oh no, here we go again, because they have to attack, they have to play proactive football, and they have to have their best goal kickers up forward.
And Martin, I would say, Nathan, Martin, who has played more forward, a bit in the midfield last week, but...
Other people's words in your mouth, and you never know where they've been.
I believe in time teams at 5 to 8 are going to win the competition because you can get on a roll. But it's the fact that you've got to win a handful of your games leading into the finals, and then you've only got one loss and you're out.
Transfield Holdings, which is involved in running detention centres in Nauru and Manus Island. The boycott resulted in the executive director of Transfield resigning and Transfield being a long-term sponsor no longer being so.
For receiving cultural grants. And I think that's really dangerous, to be honest, that somehow, as I mentioned earlier, that an artist who receives government funds to produce art has to then be beholden to the government in some way, I think is a very dangerous place to be.
Jordan.
By 4 points, and if they win tonight, gee, that'll just about say the minor premiership up, you'd think. You can't see them losing the minor premiership from there. But if they lose tonight, South Sydney get a real spurt, or even though South Sydney got a horror draw.
48 wins, 25 losses, and of course he had a stellar career as a player, played 286 first-grade games, 16 Origin games and 13 tests. Manly come into this one having won 4 of their last...
And this is what Neil Craig was saying. It's one thing to say it, it's another thing to actually do it, and they've done it this year consistently.
Isn't it? It's interesting. Where did Craigie play? Craigie played as a back, but played as half-back. Where did Tomo play? He played as a back, but played as half.
But now we're beautiful. I think we're beautiful. I don't need overpraise anymore.
Become a half reasonable coach, haven't you worked it out? Because you stand there and watch them for 90% of the game. We never got up to within a kick of a play. I went and left my back once to get a hand pass from the winger, and I could hear John Kennedy go, no!
Who's in the absence of victory, has got to try and put his mark on this game. It's a really interesting game, this. It's a difficult one to call because the form line has fluctuated somewhat. The form line of Richmond with 5 wins.
Sats. Yep. Talking Sharks. Let's talk the dig.
The dig. The dial before you dig. The essential first step.
Don't dial before you dig. You're a bloody idiot, Sats. I've said it once. I'll say it again.
Innovation Challenge Awards, run in association with Shell and the support of the Federal Department of Industry. The Young Innovators section with a $5,000 prize is...
Stephen Morris, and he's trying to be aggressive, but you don't want to give away silly free kicks at that part of the ground.
Someone stayed down a long time. Who was that? Oh, excellent player. And we've got to look at that in a minute. That was Ben Houts. A bandway chap just puts up a high.
For whatever you do, I never, never, never want to be in love with anyone but you.
See, the sort of stuff that Todd Carney tosses up. I know they all think he's a great bloke, and I know Todd, and he's a nice lad. But when it comes to this off-field stuff, he's an idiot, he does stupid stuff, and he's just...
Line right into the field, and Josh Darling getting plenty of plaudits from his teammates. 90 seconds gone, no score for Lowe's, but a chance for Manly, blocked with a scrum feet, 30 out.
Well, you're not allowed to slam the football down like that. It was Teo on the third tackle, tries to get...
Look at that. That's not, the Manly players there, but really the player, I reckon, Matty, you get just a little loss of concentration, and Ben has got that in his game.
Yeah, he does, and that's the thing that a lot of coaches and teams will talk about, Dave.
I still think it's a good side, even if Peter Walters out for the season. I think there's still a good chance of giving the finals a bit of a shake.
I like what the Dragons have been doing the last couple of weeks. I think the Dragons will unfortunately beat my Penny Panthers. Such a tough place to win, I think, down at Wollongong. It's never had a great record down there, and I think the Dragons they're just moving along nicely under Paul McGregor. Isn't it funny? We talk about Paul McGregor still hasn't. There's been no real fanfare.
Well, with that, we come to the end of this edition of Live Up Close. Hope you've enjoyed it. Questions and comments are always welcome. You can...
Monday night is upset night, Sats, and it's the night where some players just seem to be all out of all sort of whack. They've waited all weekend to get themselves on the field, and you get teams that don't turn up quite ready to...
It was probably ill-conceived in the end. Bulldogs have got the ball, but he just didn't have any help after getting through the line. It was his only really option, wasn't he? He was going to just about run himself into touch. So, but good to see him take the line on with the ball in two hands. He's a real threat when he does.